Years ago in China, there was a wild scene. A woman named Qian Zhiming, the founder of Tianjin Lantian Gerui and Company, was draped in a pink and white veil, sitting in a wheelchair. She was lifted high into the air, along with her wheelchair, as people chanted slogans. One of them was "Three Generations of Wealth," which came from the company's promotional slogan. Give Gay Ray 3 years, and Gay Ray will give you 3 generations of wealth. On November 11th, the UK's largest Bitcoin money laundering case was heard in court. Qian Zhiming, who was also the main culprit in a legal fundraising case in Tianjin 10 years ago, was sentenced to 11 years and 8 months in prison for money laundering. Judge Sally Ann Hales scouted the defendant in court, saying her actions were driven purely by greed. You were the architect of this offending from its inception to its conclusion. In the same case, a Malaysian man of Chinese descent, Shen Hockling, was sentenced to 4 years and 11 months in prison for assisting Qian Zhiming with money laundering. Will Lin, the head of the London Police Economic and Cybercrime Command, stated that the case marked the success of the UK police in cracking one of the largest, longest, and most complex money laundering cases in history, and became an important case for fighting transnational financial and cybercrime. Qian Zhiming, born in 1978 in Rugao, Jiangsu, has a college degree. She had a divorce after marriage and is known by the nickname Hua Hua, or Sister Hua, or President Hua. She once called herself the financial management guru, claiming to have dual PhDs from Tsinghua University and to have studied in the US, where she learned about financial investment. Having had a car accident, she often appeared at promotional events as the masked, disabled female entrepreneur, wearing a scarf and sitting in a wheelchair. She banned photography and mobile phones at these events, creating a mysterious atmosphere. An investor from Shenyang, Han Xinghai, heard that Huahua had brought back a lot of technology from the US. At one of the promotional events, he asked why photography was not allowed. She replied, "Because I brought back American technology, and if I reveal it, the US will sanction me." Many investors' first impression of Qian Zhiming was of a short, chubby woman who was almost silent. But after listening to her talk for 2 hours about politics, technology, and Bitcoin, without ever mentioning any sales pitch, they found themselves engrossed and were impressed by her words. Sister Hua played the role so well that for a time she drew large audiences. Lantian Gerui, a company led by Qian Zhiming, attracted public deposits nationwide, promising high returns of 1 to 3 times the investment. It was a classic Ponzi scheme, drawing investors through fake Bitcoin mining operations and fraudulent investment projects. A total of 128,000 investors across China's 31 provinces, municipalities, and autonomous regions put in hundreds of thousands of tens of millions of RMB into the projects promoted by Qian Zhiming. The majority of the victims were middle-aged and elderly individuals. Reports indicate that some victims, including business people, bank employees, and judicial staff, were persuaded by family and friends to participate in Qian Zhiming's investment plans. Many non-professional investors didn't verify the details themselves, making them vulnerable to the scam. A couple in their 40s, after attending a seminar in 2016, invested their life savings of several $100,000 that they had set aside for their retirement and daughter's future. They lost everything, and as a result, their daughter severed ties with them. In fact, Qian Zhiming had been involved in a pyramid scheme case in Hefei, Anhui in 2013 under the alias Li Xia. She founded the Hong Kong UBS International Group, recruiting members under the guise of Camellia Oil Investment. The company was falsely marketed as an overseas entity, and after facing withdrawal issues, the website collapsed. Following the incident, some individuals were arrested and sentenced, but Qian Zhiming was handled separately. Less than a year later, on March 31st, 2014, while on the run, Qian Zhiming registered Lantian Gerui in Tianjin. From April 2014 to August 2017, Lantian Gerui illegally raised 40.2 billion RMB from the public, paying back 34.1 billion RMB to 128,409 people. Among the victims, a teacher from the Inner Mongolia, Zhang Li, invested 300,000 RMB and only received 20,000 RMB back. A couple in Chongqing, Zhen Zhenge and his wife, invested more than 1 million RMB, and a resident in Shenyang, Wang Yuya, invested over 800,000 RMB. Lantian Gerui's fake products included life bracelets, which were actually sourced from Shenzhen but claimed to have GPS Beidou positioning. They also sold an air purifier called Big Blue, which supposedly filtered 300 square meters of air and had virus analysis features, but was actually sourced from Shanghai. Other products included anti-fatigue seatbelts. The company set up more than 200 Life Ring service centers, which were just a front for selling financial products. Even as police investigations began in July 2017, the company continued holding large promotional events, urging investors to invest more money. Lantian Gerui claimed to have a Bitcoin mining operation and between February and March 2017, organized visits for hundreds of investors from Shenyang to inspect the warehouse. The warehouse had signs reading Tianjin Lantian Gerui Bitcoin Warehouse, and the mining machines were displayed with power off, claiming to avoid radiation. In reality, some of the mining machines were provided by Qian Zhiming, and the Bitcoin mined was directly transferred to her personal wallet. Lantian Gerui was investigated by Tianjin police on April 21, 2017, for illegally raising public funds. Several of Qian Zhiming's accomplices were sentenced, including the company's legal representative Ren Jiangtao, who received 10 years in prison and a 500,000 RMB fine. Assistant Huang Yafang, who was sentenced to 5 years in prison and fined 250,000 RMB. And General Manager Wu Xiaolong, who was sentenced to 8 years and a half in prison and fined 500,000 RMB. Before Tianjin police officially began their investigation, Qian Zhiming had already been tipped off by insiders, and in February 2017 sought help from her boyfriend Zhao Mofen to escape the country. Qian Zhiming's escape route was carefully planned and assisted by several individuals, including a woman named Zhang Yadi. During her escape, Qian Zhiming frequently used Zhang Yadi's identity. Zhang Yadi was later arrested by Chinese authorities for helping her escape. Qian Zhiming submitted an application for citizenship to the Caribbean island nation of Saint Kitts and Nevis, which sells citizenships and passports through investment and donations. She used Zhang Yadi's name and included her own photo in the application materials. The application was approved on June 2, 2017, and Zhang Yadi was granted citizenship under the condition of donating 250,000 to the country. Qian Zhiming paid this amount. On July 26, 2017, Qian Zhiming crossed the border illegally from China to Myanmar, carrying a laptop with a large amount of Bitcoin. While in hiding in Myanmar for about a month, she successfully obtained a Myanmar passport under the name Nanying. Born on August 8, 1985. On August 30, 2017, she used this passport to fly from Myanmar to Thailand. On the same day, Chinese police confirmed that the mastermind behind the alias Huahua was in fact Qian Zhiming. On September 12, 2017, Qian Zhiming embarked on the final leg of her journey to the UK. She first flew from Bangkok, Thailand to Laos using the St. Kitts and Nevis passport she obtained under Zhang Yadi's name. A few days later, on September 15th, she flew from Laos to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and then immediately transferred to a flight to the UK. On September 16, 2017, she successfully entered the UK using the same passport, arriving at London Heathrow Airport. Qian Zhiming had purchased a total of 194,951 bitcoins, and when she fled China, she took over 70,000 bitcoins with her. By the time she arrived in the UK, those 70,000 bitcoins were worth about 305 million British pounds. In London, Qian Zhiming employed a Chinese woman named Wen Jian, who helped her exchange bitcoins to support a lavish lifestyle. Wen Jian assisted Qian Zhiming in laundering money through real estate, including the purchase of a £23 million luxury home in London. This triggered a money laundering review by UK authorities, leading to a police investigation. In 2018, after receiving reports of suspected money laundering, London police raided Qian Zhiming's residence. However, while she was inside and unable to move easily, Qian Zhiming managed to escape and leave the UK. Police confiscated a large amount of Bitcoin during the raid. During this time, Qian Zhiming had not actually left the UK, although she wasn't living with Wen Jian. She maintained contact with her and directed Wen to continue handling her funds, including making payments for her at high-end places like Harrods. Wen Jian was arrested in 2021 and found to possess a Bitcoin wallet worth over $2 billion. She claimed to be unaware of Qian Zhiming's criminal activities and believed Qian was a wealthy businesswoman who had gained her fortune through jewelry trading, real estate investment, and legitimate Bitcoin mining. Wen Jian was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in prison for money laundering. After Wen Jian's arrest and conviction, Qian Zhiming found a new front person, Seng Honling, a Malaysian Chinese man who helped her exchange bitcoins. Shen Hoklin not only assisted with the funds, but also arranged accommodations for Qian Zhiming during her escape and brought 4 illegal workers from Malaysia to handle shopping, security, cooking, and cleaning for her. Qian Zhiming was arrested in the UK in April 2024. Police found her sleeping in a house in York. When officers entered to arrest her, she hurriedly threw on a scarf, looking disheveled. Police later found a key to a virtual currency wallet worth £6.6 million hidden in her clothing. In a statement at the time, the London police confirmed they had recovered 61,000 bitcoins worth over £5 billion, around 6.7 billion USD at current prices. Qian Zhiming was charged under the UK's Proceeds of Crime Act 2002 with 2 counts: possession of criminal property, cryptocurrency, and transferring criminal property, cryptocurrency. Initially planning to contest all charges, she dramatically pleaded guilty on September 29th this year, unexpectedly skipping the planned 12-week trial and moving straight to sentencing. The prosecution told the court that between 2014 and 2017, around 128,000 investors had invested over 40 billion RMB into the Lantian Gerui Ponzi scheme, with a significant portion used to pay returns to investors and cover company operations totaling about 34 billion RMB. Additionally, huge amounts of money were siphoned off for Qian Zhiming and her accomplices' personal use, including over 95 million RMB spent on jewelry and large sums invested in cryptocurrencies. Qian Zhiming's case is an example of a scam where the stolen money was not repaid to the victims, but instead the government of the country she fled to seized it. Initially, she just aimed to scam some money for a better life, but she ended up investing the proceeds in Bitcoin. Over the years, the price of Bitcoin soared hundreds of times, making her one of the masterminds behind the most influential digital currency fraud schemes in the world. UK authorities stated that they had worked closely with Chinese authorities during the investigation, and over 80 people involved in the case have been convicted in China. A spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also confirmed that London and Beijing were cooperating on the issue of the seized funds and the extradition of suspects. Currently, UK authorities are in the process of civil procedures to use the seized bitcoins to compensate the victims, with over 1,300 victims already registered to file claims. Under UK law, if no one else has a right to the assets, half of the seized funds will go to the police and the other half will go to the UK Home Office. Chinese affairs expert Yue Shan stated that Qian Zhiming did not commit her crimes alone. The large fortune she scammed was enabled by the corrupt environment within the CCP system, and there are likely many protective figures and negligent high-ranking officials who have not been exposed. Therefore, this case will not be the last of its kind. In addition to Qian Zhiming, more and more major Chinese criminal figures are being caught or sanctioned overseas. In October of this year, the United States arrested Mexican-Chinese drug lord Zhang Zhihong. In the same month, Cambodian-Chinese businessman and current chairman of Taizi Group, Chen Zhi, was sanctioned by both the US and UK government for his involvement in a transnational criminal organization, and his assets were seized. There have been several notable Bitcoin money laundering cases involving Chinese individuals, all those with Chinese backgrounds. One such case is the Plus Token Ponzi scheme from 2018 to 2019, which primarily targeted Chinese and Korean investors. The scammers used a fake Plus Token wallet app, promising high returns, and after attracting investments, they laundered the funds using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The founders, including Chen Bo and 5 other core Chinese members, were arrested in Vanuatu in 2019 and later extradited to China for sentencing. Another case exposed in 2024 involved Tian Chenxie and Yu Chen Wang. Two Chinese nationals who operated shell companies in the US to assist an international crypto investment fraud group in laundering money. The funds came from romance scams where victims were persuaded to invest in fake crypto platforms. The case involved at least $73 million. Tianjin Xie and Yuchen Wang were arrested in May 2024 by the US Secret Service on charges of wire fraud and money laundering. This was one of the largest US sanctions against China-linked crypto money laundering in recent years, and the case is still under trial. Commentator Xu Ke noted that Chinese people are typically very capable and intelligent, but under the Chinese Communist Party's decades of atheist brainwashing, they lack morality, do not believe in retribution, and will do anything for money. Their intelligence is now used for bad deeds. There have also been several smaller cases within China, such as the 2023 to 2024 bust of a Bitcoin mining machine smuggling and money laundering ring by the Ministry of Public Security involving hundreds of millions of dollars. These cases highlight the challenges of regulating under the CCP, as many funds are flowing across borders through Bitcoin's anonymity. However, much of the illegal capital flight is also a result of the CCP's own policies. Under Xi Jinping's comprehensive anti-Western stance, China's economy has worsened, with the real estate sector nearing collapse, stock markets plummeting, and the RMB devaluing. Under the CCP's ideology, personal property lacks legal protection, prompting China's wealthy middle-class business owners and ordinary citizens to vote with their feet, immigrating or moving assets overseas. Due to the strict restrictions on legally transferring cash out of China, with a limit of 50,000 per person for wire transfers, the rest of the funds rely on informal underground banking. This has led to the rise of China's underground money markets. Despite repeated crackdowns, the instinct to secure assets has led to a surge in capital flight from mainland China. A 2019 report by the UK's National Crime Agency, NCA, revealed that Chinese students in the UK were recruited by underground money markets to help open multiple accounts at UK banks. Chinese affairs expert Wang He believes that it's not only the second-generation red elites, but also other wealthy individuals, members of the princely faction, middle-class people, and vested interests who are transferring funds abroad and planning to leave China. The resulting outflow of capital accelerates China's economic decline, and people are unlikely to keep their assets in the country. The outflow of Chinese capital may also indirectly create concerns about CCP infiltration in the West. Recently, media report revealed that Chinese capital holdings in the UK have reached a total of £190 billion, over 250 billion USD, covering sectors such as nuclear power, water, natural gas, ports, telecommunications, and data centers. The UK government has begun to take precautions. According to The Times, aside from key energy and infrastructure sectors, Chinese capital also controls 28 private schools in the UK, including the 741-year-old Ruthven School. High-profile assets such as the Premier League football club, Wolverhampton Wanderers FC, the luxury car brand Lotus, Wentworth Golf Club, and the shoe brand Clarks are also under Chinese control. Taiwanese financial commentator Huang Shikong questioned, are the financial transactions behind these assets linked to the children of influential Communist Party leaders and high-ranking officials? He noted that the UK and the US have recently worked together to expose financial flows and money laundering networks originating from China. From Bitcoin scams cases involving Chinese women Qian Zhiming to the arrest warrant of Chen Zhi, the head of a Cambodian telecom fraud group, it shows that the West actually has a clear understanding of these matters. On the other hand, many large-scale fraud cases involving Chinese people overseas have ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Chen Zhi, the founder of Tianjin Group, operated a fraud zone in Cambodia, stealing $14 billion in cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, from global victims. A former CCP agent, Eric, who had worked at Tianjin Group, recently revealed that the group has close ties with CCP security agencies and is one of the most important CCP agents in Cambodia and Southeast Asia. Additionally, on November 10th, Thailand's Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office reported that the founder of Myanmar's largest telecom fraud group, the Asia Pacific City in Myawaddy, She Zhijiang, will be extradited to China within 90 days to stand trial for illegal casino operations. She Zhijiang, 43, is a Chinese citizen who also holds a Cambodian passport. He was arrested by Thai police in August 2022 and has been imprisoned in Thailand since then. She's representative lawyer Shan Ya told Reuters that She Zhijiang denies all charges, claiming that the CCP's accusations are politically motivated. She Zhijiang, also known as She Lunkai, was reportedly invited by Philippine President Duterte in November 2018 to attend a welcome dinner for CCP leader Xi Jinping. In September 2023, She Zhijiang, through a middleman, released a video from prison introducing himself as a former vice president of the Chinese Overseas Chinese Entrepreneurs Association and a former agent of the Ministry of State Security. He claimed to have been framed and politically persecuted by the CCP and may be forcibly repatriated to China for elimination. Chinese affairs expert Yue Shan stated that the CCP has always been the one to shout, "Catch the thief," while being the origin of the wrongdoing. However, in order to maintain its control over China, it often plays a role of the good guy, pretending to be righteous. In the end, those who are used to this way often lose their lives for nothing.